Mr. Andrew here today, and we are subtracting fractions. So this is just a beginning intro to subtracting fractions. Mixed numbers will come later, but for now we're going to cover a few special cases when it comes to subtracting fractions. So it's just like adding fractions in the fact that you need a common denominator. So the one thing you need to be stressing in your mind is I need a common denominator when I am subtracting fractions. That's the one thing you need to be focused on. So here, if I ask myself, do we have a common denominator for the first problem, the answer is yes. So this appears very straightforward, or easy in fact. However, when I look at this, I say 5 minus 7, how can I take 7 away from 5? Well, if I think back to the chapter on integers, I'll actually go into a negative territory. I'll become negative 2. If I take 7 away from 5, that is negative 2. Then I go ahead and finish out the rest of the problem. Since they are 11ths, and then I keep the common denominator of 11ths. It's negative 2 11ths. Now this can be expressed as the negative on top, or you can have the negative out in front as negative 2 11ths. Either way is fine. Just I would not show the negative in the denominator. That's improper. So here, if we move forward to the next problem, 1 minus 6 13ths, I ask myself, do we have a common denominator? No, we don't, so we'll have to create a common denominator. Well, what is the denominator for the first fraction to begin with? Well, any whole number is over 1 technically. So 1 over 1. Now what's the least common multiple of 1 and 13, or what is the common denominator between 1 and 13? The answer to that question is 13. So even though we don't really have a denominator on the first one, we really create one, and then we just take it to the other denominator. So here I ask myself, what do I multiply to 13 to get 13? Well, that's 1. And what do I multiply to 1 to get 13? Well, that's 13. So just like the adding video, what I do to the bottom, I do to the top, and that's because if I look at this, I'm just multiplying by, in this case, 1 over 1, which is 1, or in this case, 13 over 13, which is, again, 1. So I'm not changing the value. I'm just creating an equivalent fraction in which I can subtract. So 1 times 13 is 13. 6 times 1 is 6. I'm subtracting. So here I just proceed with the subtraction. 13 minus 6 is 7, and they are 13ths. Okay? So here, if it's just a whole number, you place it over 1 and find the common denominator like usual. Hope this helped, and don't be afraid to email me. Thank you.